Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth from Elvis Astrology at elvisastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So today I will be doing my January 2025, if you can believe it, astrology video. I want to wish everybody season's greetings, whatever it is that you might do to enjoy yourself over this lovely time period, right? So we start off the 1st of January with a bang. But it might be a little bit of a whimpered type bang because we have Mars still retrograde in Leo still, and it will be opposite Pluto in Aquarius. Now, this is not the last time we will have this opposition. We'll also have a final opposition when Mars is going direct. Towards the end of April, it's actually going to be around the new moon in Taurus, which is around the end of April 2025, at 3 degrees of Leo opposing Pluto at 3 degrees of Aquarius. So when we look at something like this, as a dynamic, it can be very motivating. But because Mars is retrograde, there's this element of frustration. And because we've got an opposition with these two very powerful planets, it speaks of more than frustration. It's like there could be some, real blow-ups of some sort. So this is occurring around 1 degree of Leo is where the Mars retrograde is, and 1 degree of Aquarius is where Pluto is. Now, from a positive standpoint, this could be a time, if you have this in your chart, for instance, with the Mars retrograde, to use the power determination of Pluto with the Mars planning side of its energy, right? Mars certainly, when it's going direct, wants to move forward. Let's get this done. But Mars retrograde says not so fast. So there's going to be a buildup of frustration potentially here with this setup. And of course, the other thing is potentially accidents could happen too, right, at this time. Now, on that same day, we have Jupiter will be forming a square with Saturn. And there's two sides to this energy too. So this can bring in frustration where you want to expand to do what you want to do in terms of building structures. And this can apply to on a general mundane level in the world as well as to us personally. But the way you could use this is if you're trying to build something, right? Create something, maybe literally a structure. Because we've got the energy of Jupiter, which is expansive. It wants to grow. And then we have the energy of Saturn, which is the opposite. It wants to condense things. It might want to delay things. It might want to consider things. But if you think of putting both these energies together, this can be effectively building something like a structure or building structures. Now, Jupiter can represent foreign people, foreign things. It can also represent travel. So it's possible that there may be some travel difficulties around this time too. We've got that Jupiter is in Gemini, right? So Gemini does talk to short distance travel mainly, but Jupiter itself represents long term. So it's travel generally speaking. There may be some frustrations here. Communications may not work. Maybe some communication system will break down with regards to travel. That type of thing. And just plain frustrations dealing with things like travel, right? Now, our first lunation is going to be a full moon in Cancer. It'll be at 23 degrees Cancer, 59 minutes. So we're looking at 24 degrees of Cancer on the 13th of Jan at 2:26 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, the North nodes, which are our collective destiny points, will be in Pisces at this time. So this is another big change that's happening, right? And they will ingress. They always go backwards. They start at 29 degrees. So there's 30 degrees in every sign. So we're starting here at 29 degrees of Pisces, and it'll continue to go backwards over the next 18 months. So certainly if you've got your North nodes in Pisces, this is going to be a significant time, this full moon for you, right? because it does form a loose trine, right? So we've got the moon at 24 degrees of Cancer, and then we've got the north nodes at 29 of fellow water sign Pisces. So there could be some nice energy turning up here with regards to our destiny path, right? And especially as we look at our destiny path with great compassion, right? At its positive side, Pisces can be very much about compassion, service to other, charity for other people. But then, of course, with every planet and every sign, there are many sides to it. This can also bring in deception. Now, we do have the moon forming a trine, so this is beautiful energy. I think this may be some inspirational things that happen here at this full moon. And perhaps there will be things related to anything to do with mothering, motherhood, that type of thing, right? And certainly Cancer also represents compassion and nurturing. We have at this time Venus will conjunct Saturn, as well as Neptune. But Venus squares Jupiter. And most notably, of course, this moon conjuncts Mars retrograde. So here we're having Mars retrograde come back into the picture. And so this certainly can bring up irritations, emotional irritations at this time, right? And the degree points we're talking about here is 23 of Cancer, or 24, and 27, which is where Mars retrograde is. Yeah, I would say that if you find yourself just getting irritated or growing irritation, that would be a natural feeling with this conjunction of the moon and Mars retrograde. Take care with that, though, right? So if you're going to be putting yourself in situations with people, or a situation where you are already amped up, you might want to do a little bit of meditating, maybe go for a quick walk, take some 10 breaths, that sort of thing, before you let out some emotional type of energy that may not be constructive. Now, that Mars retrograde does trine both Neptune and the north node. So again, this is a nice support for our destiny paths, right? Especially our destiny path from the standpoint of a mundane level, a worldwide destiny, right? And again, if you've got your, you have your north nodes in Pisces, this could be a big signal for you. The Mars retrograde part of it may just have you thinking about what kind of inspirational things can you do for yourself, right? And so we're talking about here those folks that have their north nodes in Pisces. Now, when we look at the 16th of Jan, again, we have that Mars opposing the Sun. And again, this is an opposition. And so there could be, again, frustrations on this day. So we're talking about 26 Cancer, which is where Mars will be, and then 26 Capricorn in the opposite sign, which is where the Sun will be. The Sun being in Capricorn speaks to me of people that make the laws, people that have that say whether this is right or wrong, institutions, especially old institutions. There could be some battles going on here with regards to that, right? And just straight off frustrations. The positive side of this energy on the 16th of Jan is this marks approximately the halfway point of that Mars retrograde. And so this can also bring up ideas of potential action that you can take in the future. So there may be something come up for you that say, okay, I've been frustrated, you're trying to move forward with whatever it is you're trying to move forward with, but I'm getting this idea now of where I might be able to go, and where that might be able to go may involve people in power, right? That's the Sun in Capricorn. Here in the US, we have Inauguration Day of President on the 20th of Jan. The Sun is conjunct Pluto. I'm just going to go over a few of the aspects here. Technically, I believe it's around noon that the official time period is, but of course, all sorts of festivities and events will happen prior to noon, and that would be in Washington, D.C. We do have the moon at 18 degrees of Libra, but it'll be in Libra that day anyway. And of note, it does conjunct President-elect Donald Trump's own Jupiter that day. His Jupiter is at 13 of Libra. Uranus will conjunct his midheaven, bringing some unexpected things his way. And the Mars retrograde will conjunct his natal Venus and Saturn because they're conjunct in his chart. And note that Uranus will square his natal Mars, which conjuncts his ascendant, so it also squares his ascendant. So it says to me that there's going to be a big influence here with fairness, right? When we look at that moon in Libra, the moon can represent the people. And there's this desire for having balance and harmony. And so we may hear things like that. But Libra can also represent the law. So I'm just thinking there's some kind of laws or law that's going to be brought into our view at this time, perhaps by him himself. But there's some surprises for him on that day. The last lunation of the month is a new moon, and that new moon is in Aquarius at 9 Aquarius 51, so that you can round that up to 10 degrees of Aquarius. That's going to be on the 29th of Jan at 4:36 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So new moons, says the moon and the sun are together. So happy new year for all my Aquarians. Nicely, that sun and moon trine Jupiter. Jupiter is going to be retrograde at this point in Gemini. And so this is a nice setup for what? Measured growth. And perhaps it's measured growth with something to do with Aquarian types of things. And this could be anything from humanitarian type efforts to anything to do with electronic media of any sort, right? YouTube, the internet. It could be a busy day if you've got something around this 10-degree mark of Aquarius. Certainly, I get the impression that the airwaves, are going to be very electric and lots of stuff being said at this time, right? With that big influences of Venus and Gemini. We also have Venus, Neptune, as well as the North Nodes, all in Pisces at this time. And so this sets up some beautiful energy with imaginings, dreaming about things. It could, if you're up for it, that Venus-Neptune together is like the ultimate love relationship, right? And for some, that might very well be what's going to happen here. Let me just take a look at the degrees for that. Yeah, so we're looking at that Jupiter and Neptune's 25 and 27 Pisces, respectively, with the North Nodes at 28. So we can say there's a big conjunction for sure. So if you have anything between, say, 25 or even 24 to 28, 29 of Pisces, this is a beautiful setup for romantic love. But if you're in the music industry or dance, this could bring surprising, fantastic energy to help you put something together that may actually lead you on your destiny path, right? Because we've got those North Nodes conjunct as well. It is a beautiful stellium for sure in Pisces. We have Mercury will be conjunct Pluto, and that's at 1-2 degrees of Aquarius. So this is some big news from, I would say, powerful institutions, powerful people, right? That's the Pluto part. And I would say in Aquarius, again, Aquarius is all about, anything to do with YouTube, the internet, any kind of electronic communications. And Mercury there, conjunct Pluto, says some very powerful pieces of information will be relayed at that new moon on the 29th of Jan. We have Mars retrograde is going to be making a wide trine with Saturn, and Mars retrograde will also make a wide sextile to Uranus. So I think that new moon is going to bring in, I would say, maybe some surprises with regards to changes in our systems of government, which, of course, we are going to be having a change on the 20th, so it follows. But there may be some pretty significant efforts put in here at this new moon to have new starts with regards to that. Now, the fly in the ointment is that Mars is still retrograde. So I think there's going to be some little bit of big or small blow-ups because you can't do what you want to do. You can't make those changes that you want to make. Mars retrograde will also do a wide trine with Venus. And so this is really nice with regards to, I get the idea here of quiet love, somebody expressing their love maybe through not outward means because we've got this Mars retrograde, but maybe through a letter or a kind word of some sort. On the 30th of Jan, we have Uranus will be going direct at 23 of Taurus. So we end this month of January 2025 with the idea of breaking free, right? With Uranus going forward. I almost get like rebellious energy of some sort as well happening at this time. Well, what about February? Let's take a quick peek at that. The full moon will be in Leo, and Pisces, you will have your new moon in February. Mars will go direct at 17 of Cancer, and that's towards the latter part of February. And Jupiter will go direct. So February is looking pretty optimistic too, with regards to being able to move forward. So January still may be a little frustrating for those folks that want to move forward. But hey, we're going to have Mars going direct towards the end of February. Just look forward to that and plan for that, right? That whole Mars retrograde is great to use for planning. And speaking of planning, I am making this sort of mid-December 2024. So for those folks that have not done all their Christmas shopping, maybe even some Christmas shopping for yourself, this might be a good time to book an appointment with me. And there's a combination of different things, starting at $50 right up to well over $100, that kind of fall into everybody's price range, depending what you want to do and the money that you have. You can send somebody a gift. If you'd like me to do somebody's chart as a Christmas gift, just shoot me an email at elpasastrology at gmail.com. All my contact information in that is below here. And we can go from there and I can contact them. But I'd like to do this for you too. This might be an ideal time to nurture yourself, right? So I'm making this video right around that full moon in Gemini, a good time to consider to nurture yourself and have compassion for yourself, right? I look forward to that. All right, next I am going to do individual sign readings for your ascendant and or sun sign. I suggest that you listen or watch for both your ascendant sign as well as your sun sign. They're both important in your chart. The first one, the rising sign, really gives you a better understanding of the areas of life. And remember, these are general forecasts, right? To actually see how it affects you, you need to look at your natal chart. And especially the lunations, are they close to a conjunction or opposition or trine or square exact, right? Otherwise, sometimes these things can go by without really anything happening. So Aries, this full moon in Cancer squares you and your 4th house. And remember, we've got Mars retrograde conjunct the moon 2 in the 4th house. So overall, I would say that there may be some challenges with regards to family, your mother, other family members, or literally your home, frustrations in the home for some reason. And I mean, if you think about it, in the natural zodiac, Cancer does rule the 4th house too. So there's some importance being put here with regards to the 4th areas of life for you in terms of challenges. Maybe you're not going to be able to move forward as you want to with regards to something to do with the home. I mean, this could be buying and selling a home where there's a little bit of frustration that sets in here, where you can't move either fast enough or people aren't moving fast enough for you. Just have patience. That whole Mars retrograde is there to slow you down, but slow you down for a reason so that you're not tripped up later, right? So look at all the details is what I would say regarding family and home. And, you know, Mars does rule your sign. So that Mars retrograde is important to you, Aries, with regards to what? Planning, reconsidering, looking at all the details carefully and seeing when you want to take action, what do you need to put in place so that that action goes smoothly forward? That'll mean something different for every Aries, of course. Now, we do have that Mars retrograde will go direct towards the end of February, next month, right? Now, for you, you have 2 planets that'll be going into Aries this year. You've got both Neptune and Saturn. So this is a big year for you, Aries. I'll speak more about this in my general forecast for 2025, but those are big shifts for you. And the months we're talking about are March and May, Saturn and Neptune, or Neptune-Saturn, respectively. When we look at that new moon in Aquarius, well, it sextiles you, Aries, and that means opportunities come your way through 11th house matters. All right. 11th house are friends, generally speaking, in groups we belong to. It's also our hopes, dreams, and wishes. So this might be a good new moon, or at least a day or two after the new moon, to put out some kind of intentions of what you want with regards to your dreams, your wishes, your hopes. Yeah, and I mean that conjunction of Pluto and Mercury could be extremely powerful in that direction, right? But just on the surface, Aries, you may have some friends step in here to help you make a new start. Or you just may make new friends. You may hear from some powerful friends as well with that Pluto conjunct Mercury here, right? They may have something very powerful to tell you. Take care, Aries. All right, everybody. I'm wishing everybody all the best for this new year, 2025, coming up. Sending everybody a lot of love and a lot of inspiration. We got a big influence of Pisces at the start of this year. And so that, to me, equates to inspiration, right? Yeah. Now, for those that would like to have their chart done, or maybe even their friend or a family member, please reach out to me. All my contact info is below. There's various things that you can do. Most of them are at most people's price ranges. And I look forward to that. That's one of my favorite things to do is people's charts. I will be doing a live presentation. So I picked Saturday, the 28th of December, 2024, as my next live video. And I will be looking at 2025 and going through each of the individual signs. And of course, taking any questions or comments that you have. I'm really looking forward to it. We did this last year. I finally got it organized. So again, that's going to be Saturday, the 28th of December, 2024. I haven't decided on the exact time, but typically I do this around 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time or California time, right? But I will put this on my YouTube website as a notification Don't forget to set that bell, ring that bell on your YouTube account so you get all my notifications.